You're tuned in to Ask the Master Auto Technician. Car questions? Get answers right now. Call 850-763-0555.
James Auto Center, we fix it right, guaranteed. Beep, 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 yeah.
Welcome back to the show. My name is James Morris. I got Brian on here, but before I get to Brian, I got Andrew who's calling. Apparently he's got a crisis. Andrew, you got a bee question?
Yeah, I got thousands of bees that showed up on my porch yesterday and the day before and has made a home out there, and I was wondering how I could get rid of them.
Well, now some people just go ahead and kill them, but I'm not going to recommend that. I'm going to recommend you call a beekeeper. There's DNC removal.
Yeah, I called a beekeeper yesterday. He's supposed to call me back today, but I kind of know you, and I thought I'd ask you what the deal was.
Well, what you have to do is, the bees have swarmed. They found a great place to live right there, and they're going to make nest. They're going to make a home right there.
Yeah, that's what they've done. They've made them a little home.
And what's going to need to be done is someone needs to go in there, and the longer they stay in there, the worse it's going to be, is to do a cutout on them if they get inside there. But if you can go in there before they get too far established and find the queen, the rest of them will come along with her. They won't live, and that's what you got to do. Is they won't live without a queen. But if we can find the queen and have, how long have they been there? A day?
Yesterday they got there. They started the day before, and they made their home yesterday.
Have they already got a nest being drawn out?
Well, they're just a big old wad of bees, about the big as they
are. All right. Well, tell you what, give my information to my wife. We may be able to help you out when I get off the end, because I don't want to let everybody know where you live at. Sure, go ahead.
Real quick.
All right.
I've got a 2000 motor home with a Cummins diesel in it, like a 350 horsepower diesel.
Right.
It don't want to crank no more. And when it didn't want to crank, when it did start, it would start like it turned over 20, 30 seconds before it ever start. Now it don't want to start at all. No smoke, the glow plugs don't get hot, and I don't know why it's getting no fuel. It don't sound like it's getting no fuel.
Well, that's what it sounds like to me. The biggest problem with the Cummins is a low-pressure pump that supplies fuel to the high-pressure pump. It goes bad. They've got an updated fuel pump that goes in the fuel tank. What year did you say this one was?
2000.
2000. I believe your fuel pump is located on the block. On this low-pressure pump.
Mounted on the side of the block.
Right. They've replaced that with one that goes in the tank. An updated one, because they had such a problem with the fuel sucking. Electric fuel pumps are designed to push fuel, not to suck fuel. And that's what they're doing. It's sucking fuel. And I got a gut feeling if you check out that primary pump on there, you're going to find that's the problem, because you say there's no smoke. If you've got no smoke, that means you got no fuel.
Right.
Okay, so that's what I want you to check. Do that first, and I want you to give that information to my wife, and we'll see if we can help you out that way real quick too. But I'm going to get Brian over here. Brian, you're calling all the way from Maryland about a 2016 Mustang?
Yeah, the EcoBoost Mustang. Now, when typically think of Mustang, we think of high performance, James.
Yes.
But, and big displacement, 5 liters and more.
Mm-hmm.
But for 2016, well, actually prior to 2016, Ford over the last couple of years has gone to downsizing their engines in pretty much all of their platforms, even the vaunted F-150 pickup.
Mm-hmm.
They use small displacement engines with small displacement turbochargers, and the result is EcoBoost. And got to tell you, it's quite a platform.
It sure is. That they're running 12-to-1 compression on it, which people find hard to believe, because when you and I were growing up, 12-to-1 compression meant a rough idling engine due to high compression. But it's fantastic how it works using fuel injection, and they just put a teeny tiny amount of fuel on top of the piston, and it has so much power with that turbocharger. It's unreal. How much horsepower does this Mustang have with only 4 cylinders?
Well, 310 horsepower, but first we have to understand that the Mustang is iconic, James. It's now in its 50-plus years of production.
Yeah.
It was originally named after the P-51 Mustang from World War II fame, and it's just been a car that just has not gone away. Ford was building some cars that were less than desirable in the 1970s. We hark back to the Fox body Mustang platform. And quite frankly, I like the Fox body cars, but they weren't the best cars ever built in terms of build quality and construction. But that kind of saw the late 70s, early 80s kind of saw the introduction of the 5.0 platform, which really kind of vaunted Mustang back into the horsepower lead. Now, Camaro had gone away at one point. It kind of fizzled out, and then it was reintroduced. Firebird is no longer on the scene.
Mm-hmm.
The Dodge Challenger had gone away and has now returned.
Correct.
So for a while, Mustang was the only so-called pony car
Right.
To rule the roost. And Ford kept on digging at it. And, for 2016, they've got a car that's pretty incredible. It's the 2016 Ford Mustang EcoBoost, a 2.3-liter engine, 310 horsepower, 320 pound-feet of torque, and it rides like, the ride quality is really impressive because, Mustang now has, they've gone away from the solid axle rear suspension.
Oh.
They now have a fully independent rear, and what a difference it makes in terms of the handling capability of this automobile. Double ball joint front suspension. It's got pitch control during hard acceleration, which means that there are electronic computers on board that keep you from the nose from rising when you're really getting down on it.
Whoa.
You might need that more with the Shelby editions or with the 5-liter editions than you do with the 2.3-liter EcoBoost. But still, these are the kind of improvements that Ford has made in this car over the years. It's got selectable drive modes.
Uh-huh.
You can customize the drive modes and let you dial in your preferred handling dynamics. You can choose from normal, snow or wet, sport, and track. Now, I'm not sure I want to take a Mustang out of the snow.
No.
But still, Ford has built-in parameters to the customizable driving computer that allows you to adjust its handling and response characteristics to optimize driver control. And you simply choose the driving modes with a toggle switch on the center stack. And the center stack is laid out kind of like an old Mustang style with nice toggles across the center console with the start-stop button just to the left of them. It's impressive throughout. And I got to tell you, for a mere $29,000 and $36,000 as tested, I think that this Mustang is something that anybody who wants a sports car, and it's closer to sports car than pony car, something they really ought to consider.
Now, this has got this suspension is electronic shocks on there that just like the Corvettes used to have, and which are very, very expensive, the shocks on these Corvettes that are adjustable ride. So that's apparently how they adjust the ride, by handling the stiffness of the shocks electronically. I don't know. That's why I'm asking. I'm thinking that's what they're doing.
No. On the Corvette, you have magnetic ride control, which uses a ferrofluid. It's an iron-based liquid, and when you apply a charge to that iron-based liquid, it stiffens up.
Right.
So let's say you want to dive into a corner, and you set the thing for maximum stiffness. Well, it'll stiffen up really nicely. With the Mustang, it's a electronic control, but it's I'm not sure. I know it's not ferrofluid-based, so it has to be either hydraulic-based or air-based. The system.
But still, that's pretty impressive. They're coming out with it. I just know that the technology that's coming out is unreal. I was reading today they were talking about in 2022, all cars will have autonomous braking. Where the braking, you're going to have cameras on it. They were talking about today's paper. It'll have cameras that'll stop the car way before you do. If you fail to stop the car, it's going to have autonomous braking. That it just kind of like the Tesla has, I guess, and some other newer model cars have, but it's going to be standard equipment by 2022. Who would ever think that? I mean, that they'd be putting that on cars.
Well, I mean, we're moving closer and closer to the Jetsons age,
yes.
James. I mean, when you think about it, 20 years ago, a lot of cars did not have electronic stability control as standard equipment. Mercedes and the European manufacturers were among the first to implement this life-saving technology.
Yes.
But now it's mandated by the federal government, by NHTSA, National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. So you see it on a Kia Rio and you see it on a Bugatti Veyron. So,
it is amazing that vehicles. You don't really realize how vehicle stability control, how good it is until you actually it works. I was test driving a car and I was trying to get it to make noise, and I was going a little fast and I went off the edge of the road to try to get bumps on it, and all of a sudden I kind of lost control, hit another bump, and all of a sudden it kicked in, applied the brakes, and I was able to maintain the control. And the car did it. I didn't do anything. It was just amazing how this stuff can save your life. Vehicle stability control. This electronic ride. Is it more of a creature comfort, or is it a safety as well? on the ride part.
Well, anytime you can enhance the handling capability of a car, then I guess you could put that under the rubric of safety.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure that I'm sure Ford, pretty much developed the system in terms of the performance aspect of the Mustang. But that doesn't mean that the Mustang doesn't come with safety, because it does have the advanced track stability control with with all the airbags, including a driver's knee airbag.
Very important.
Front and side airbags, a front passenger knee airbag, and that keeps you from submarining under the seatbelts in a severe front crash. So those knee airbags, particularly in a coupe, are very important.
That's very
It's got a SOS post-crash alert system. So if you get into an accident, it will dial the authorities for you, pretty much in the same way that the OnStar systems do it on General Motors cars, and give your GPS coordinates so they can come and, if your airbags deploy, they can send out the emergency crew. They can talk to you over the internal communication system, provided you have, you've paid for a subscription,
right?
For this type of service. And not only is the Mustang beautiful, it is safe, and it's just an all-around great car.
It sounds.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jason.
It sounds like it's like the Jetsons. I mean, the double wishbone suspension, all this right here. This is stuff that we dreamed about back in the '60s and '70s that Mustang would be, which never could be because it was a poor man's sports car. But now it sounds like it's a poor man's sports car that's affordable, so to speak. $29,000 isn't a lot of money for a brand new high-performance EcoBoost system. It really isn't. That's a very.
But it's actually not a double wishbone suspension, James.
Oh,
it's double ball joint.
Double
front
ball joint. Okay, all right.
And a fully independent rear.
Okay, but still, that's awesome. It really is.
Oh yeah. It's totally awesome, and it doesn't beat you to death.
Yeah.
Now, if you want performance, then Mustang also has performance variants, including the Shelby GT 350. The Carroll Shelby legacy continues on. It's got a 5.2-liter V8 with 526 horsepower and a 373 torsion limited slip differential. Now, the Shelby GT 350 does have the Magna-Ride suspension, those electronic shocks that have the ferrofluid, but that is not standard on the EcoBoost car.
It still sounds awesome. It really does. This sounds like some really, really good stuff. We only got about a minute here before we got to go. In your recommendation, if you had to choose between of the cars you've driven as far as inexpensive sports cars that good handling, where would, on a scale of 1 to 10, where would this Mustang be on a scale of 1 to 10? 10 being the best, 1 being the worst.
Well, when I think of those cars, I think of, again, the Mustang, the Camaro, and the Challenger. And for me, the Mustang's number one. I love the Camaros, but if you ever look at one, those side windows are really small. And I'm a big guy. If you ever had a crash, how would you get out of those small side windows if you ever had to climb out of that car in an emergency? So for me, Mustang is number one. For more on the Ford Mustang, you can visit Ford.com. They've got all the models there. It explains EcoBoost in detail, how the small turbochargers increase performance and efficiency. And folks, it sounds great. You won't know you're driving a small 2.3-liter car. And you got to remember, like back in 1979, they had some Mustang SVO cars with the 2.3-liter turbocharged engine that were producing less than 300 horsepower and were nowhere near as efficient as this car, which gets 25 miles a gallon, 32 combined, and 32 miles a gallon on the highway.
That's impressive.
Overall, I give this Mustang an A+. It's quite a car. Had a lot of fun driving it.
Sounds great. Thank you so much, Brian, for calling. We hope to hear from you again next week. I don't know what kind of car you're going to drive next week, but I really do enjoy these car reports. I'm learning. It makes me want to go out and test drive some new cars. It really does. Thank you, Brian. We'll make sure we send you a copy of this for your records for you, okay?
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. All right. This is James Morse along with Anna Marie Morse. If you have a
James Auto Center, we fix it right.